Well, welcome back to the Reinvent the Hunt podcast, everybody. We're already at episode 3 of season 2. Kevin, you have something going on down there this weekend, right?
Yeah, so we have a 3-day muzzleloader season coming up in Maryland. So it'll be starting tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So
You going out?
yeah, I'll be going out Friday afternoon and Saturday. So we'll
Awesome.
see what happens.
Solo or taking kids, or how you doing
Nah, I'm gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go with a couple buddies of mine. Um, at least on Saturday. I was gonna take the kids, but she's got something going on for school, so
it? Gotcha, gotcha,
so
gotcha.
it'll
Well,
be a good time.
yeah, it's a
You
nice
going on
episode.
known property or are you going on public?
So that's a good question. Yeah, I do have leases, but I was gonna go down Dorchester on public to sick a deer hunt, which I know a
Okay.
couple buddies with private land too. But so I don't know. I don't know the plan yet. I don't just
Yeah.
going in the wind here.
You ever do an early deer drive with muzzleloaders? A bunch of guys together. That'd be something, wouldn't it? A
Yeah, that
muzzleloader
would
deer
nah.
drive. You'll
I
get
know.
one good shot.
I know somebody that does it up in like Western Maryland. They get
Oh,
like 19, 20 people together and do one. He said like almost everybody tags out every year,
oh,
which is pretty wild.
yeah, that'd be
They
wild. I've
see how
been
fast you
on
can reload.
Yeah, I've been on those before during shotgun in Ohio. You hear like slugs going above your head, ticking off
Oh yeah.
limbs. You're ducking
Well,
down line trees.
That's scary.
But yeah,
we do it quite frequently during regular gun season, not muzzleloader, but I mean we know where to place guys and we know where the guys are walking and stuff like that. Like it's not a dumb bunch of guys, so
yeah.
not just shooting at everything.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes you'll have like neighboring farms here. People don't know they're hunting, and
Oh yeah.
you hear a shotgun blast and tick 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 tick. You hear the
Hmm.
slug going through. Not in a good
Yep.
situation. So tonight in this episode, we want to talk about. I thought it would be a good time. Kenny suggested talking about this, and I thought it was Kevin and I both reiterated what is a shooter buck? What's a shooter animal? Why do you harvest certain animals when you do? I think we have a lot of different banter we can talk back and forth about this. So, Kenny, you suggested it. Why don't you kick it off and kind of go where you're aiming?
Oh, that's cool. I just find it funny that everybody has a different impression what a shooter is to them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to teach grandkids now uh, on what to harvest and what deer management looks like. To an extent, I still want the kids to shoot what makes them happy, but that's also the philosophy. I mean, I'm telling you, I've watched 130-inch bucks go by, and then a single doe comes by. And I'm like, man, I'm going to plug her. I mean, that becomes my shooter. It's just whatever tricks my trigger. But I am as a person. I like to look at maturity, not size.
Hmm.
That's me. Um, and I think I kind of got that from a buddy of mine in Iowa. Uh, he started sending me videos from the deer stand of 150, 160-inch deer that he was just letting walk. I mean, just walk. And I'm like, man, I'd be shaking out of the tree. And
Yeah.
he's like, the 3.5-year-old deer. He goes, his bigger brother's a lot bigger. I'm like, okay. And that was quite a while ago when he started sending that to me. And that just kind of started me changing how I approached hunting. And that's why I asked. I know a guy that all he does will shoot bucks, and he will not shoot anything else. He'll shoot buck. He'll donate the meat every year. And but if it's not doesn't meet a minimum antler size, doesn't matter what the age, he's got a minimum antler size, and that's what he shoots. He'll never shoot a doe because he always donates the meat.
Huh.
So that was the reason why I came up with it. I just thought it'd be a good topic to talk through.
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. Kevin, you mentioned a couple of things about some guys on leases I thought were interesting. What they're talking about, they'll just shoot bucks on the lease are on, or what you saying earlier?
No, I feel like I don't know, especially with this economy, you got a lot of guys going out and they're going out public land free and they're just trying to fill their freezer, right? So they're not really caring what they shoot as long as it's putting meat in the freezer. Um, I get that to a certain extent, but I'm also one that likes to try to manage deer, and I've changed over the years. Obviously, when I was younger, it was just like shoot anything, whatever. Didn't matter. But I've changed over the years, and I like to try to manage deer. I'm part of a farm, farms now that actually manage deer, and I feel like if you're gonna hunt for meat, shoot a doe. Like
Agreed.
that's how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, especially if you're paying for leases. I see guys that pay for leases that'll shoot anything. I'm like, that's just beyond my comprehension. That's pretty dumb to me because
Yeah.
then you're just paying to shoot small deer all the time, basically, because you're just shooting everything that walks by. So and then you got guys that argue that, they're just trying to put meat in the freezer. Well, shoot a doe. Shoot.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't really think it's that difficult.
Right.
Do you guys
And
have
then-
antler point restrictions up there?
Yeah, it's like,
No.
no, we don't. We don't.
Oh, you mean your lease?
What
Talking about your lease?
consider when the lease we do? Yeah, it has
The
to be a
lease you do.
140 minimum
Okay.
Oh,
on
nice.
the leases. But no, we don't have an antler restriction in Maryland. We have, well, if you shoot a spike, and it's under 3 inches, it's considered it's a antlerless deer, right? So you can tag it as basically a doe. So
Yeah. So a big part of Missouri has a 4-point restriction. So 4 points on one side, measurable points, so an inch or longer on one side. They instituted that. I don't know, I've been pushing close to 10 years now. And it's helped.
right.
But there's people that just meat hunters. I mean, they're just hunters. I mean, they don't care. That's the brown. If it's brown, it's down philosophy. And
Yeah, I
so-
don't know. I mean, I get it. People just want to fill their freezers. A lot of people, especially in this economy, but it's just like I just can't get down with
The
that.
why.
I don't, just right. I mean, to a certain extent, but I feel like there's a lot of deer. You don't need to shoot the first one that walks
Yeah.
out.
What that little spiker do to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. You see the video. You see the video.
He's out there
I
doing the
posted?
best he
I
can.
thought,
You know?
I thought the two spikes were about to fight. I was like, yeah,
I
this is
love
gonna
that.
be good.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too. Like, let those spikes live because they're the most fun to watch because they're spunky. They're running
Yeah.
around. They're like
Yeah.
middle school boys running around.
Yeah, they're like
they don't know,
little-
they know what they're doing. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like little firecrackers that just have
Yeah.
they don't know anything, right?
Yeah, they're fun too. And I think it's
They are.
also the note of, here in Ohio, where I live specifically, we have the genetics, but not everywhere in Ohio has that genetics. You get those pockets in Northwest Ohio where you get these monsters that survive and no one ever sees them until they're 4.5 years old. Then you get down in southeastern Ohio where there's some massive hills, and we're on the verge of that on the glaciated separation there. So we have a lot of till plains and crops and such, but we have the best mixture here. And in southern Ohio, you get these pockets of these giants where they exist, and you get that one hunter that tracks them for 3 years and sees them every day, or doesn't see them for 4.5 years, and they show up. So you have such varied terrain, even in Ohio, across the whole Midwest. I think a hunter has to decide for themselves, like, what is big and what do it's at the end of the day, it does come down to your personal choice. Like if a person shoots, to me, a spike and you're young and it's a kid, but I've had the discussion before with people, that's pretty awesome. It means that first harvest or something that's a really cool memory or adventures.
Right.
Sometimes the adventure caps the animal size to me. But as a seasoned hunter, if we all consider ourselves that now at this level, of this many years experience or this many years in the woods sitting there, I see a deer and, if it doesn't get my blood boiling or super excited, I'm not going to shoot it. It's
Right.
just my respect,
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm the same way.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, there's been does that trip my trigger, and I can watch bucks walk by. They're just, okay, there's another
Hey,
3.5-year-old,
Right.
Yeah.
But then
there's
a big
another
mature
basket rack.
doe walks out, and I'm like, oh man,
Oh, smoker.
kind of like Kip Adams, man. Don't snort.
Right,
you
right.
do
You
it.
gotta get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You blow, you go.
Yeah.
They start stomping and blowing. You're out of here.
Yeah. So I mean, that's me. I'm a big believer of whatever gets your blood boiling, trips your trigger, whatever. That should be your shooter. I took last year, my grandson's 8 now. He was 7 when we took last year. And I was so impressed. It was been his first time actually going to pull the trigger. And it was actually several mature does, came out with a couple of little fawns, but I mean, they were 12 yards, 13 yards from the blind. And he's like, nah, I'm going to wait on a buck. I was like, okay. I mean, all day long. And then he had several bucks. I mean, he probably had 2 or 3 that are 120-inch 8 points come by that 20 yards shooting the crossbow. And then we put the rifle in, same thing. And he just had no desire. He goes, no, you've shown me pictures, Papa. I'm going to wait until one of them come out. And he did. I mean, it was just, and I'm thinking, man, if I, at 20, I'm popping that 120
Right,
inch
right.
you know?
Yeah,
This
no
kid's
doubt.
ain't going. I mean, not even. He just looks. Nah,
Yeah,
man. I wish I could have had that discipline at his age.
You
no
ain't kidding.
doubt. Yeah,
Right. And I think there's a certain line. Obviously, you want kids to get involved and enjoy it, but they're kids. Yeah, let them shoot what makes them happy, but also
Yep.
teach them
teach them
the
that.
management aspect of it as they're growing up. I
Yeah.
mean, like I see some guys argue online and stuff. They're like, "Well, there's not many deer around." So I mean, that's the damn reason why there's not many deer around. Because the exact reason what you're doing right now, shooting the
Yep.
first thing that walks out.
Yeah,
That's the reason why there's not many around. Because everybody just shoots everything.
yeah,
And I mean, it just that's why like one of my leases, like there's like hardly any deer. Like every neighboring property, they're just like blasting everything. I mean, everything that walks by. It could be a fawn. And I'm just like, this is terrible, man.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so hard to hunt there. Like, and this will
Well,
be the last year I'm gonna be there, but um, yeah, it's just so hard when everybody just shoots everything.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
get the point too. Like for me personally, I kind of like, I really like character now. So
Yeah,
like you guys are talking about, you get to the point where you find that one. Like there's one this year I'm watching quite a bit. You guys probably seen him. His main beams come around almost touch. Got really long G2s, just a really cool character of a deer. And when guys look at a deer around here, like my dad would have a very different. He sent me a picture of it. His trail came the other day, a Spy Point, and he's like, "Hey, look at this one," and like it was probably a 2.5 year old, deer, just needing a few more years on him, and he looked pretty big in the picture, but I can tell he was young, and so for me, like when I look at the deer, hunting bow hunting longer than he has been, I'm going to have a different category of deer I might be after than he is, but yet like when we're out hunting, it's about the adventure. And so like
right.
you get to talk about that, you get to figure it out. And like when a kid, like I remember my first deer was a yearling, and he had me, field dress it myself, and I had to get in there and learn how to do it. And that was a really good process to do for the first time when I was about 9 years old. And you had to learn that, and that was like a rite of passage for me. And then from then on, I got to build with him. Okay, what's the next deer we want to look for? Like what's the next kind of deer we want to hunt? So I think what you said, Kevin, is good, and also Kenny, you talk with the people out with you or who you're taking hunting as a kid, and you say, well, okay, you shot, this yearling now. Let's try for a buck next time. Then
Right.
let's try for maybe something a little bit bigger. And you build that resilience in them to a degree.
Right, exactly. That,
Yeah, and what got me was with him. I mean, I told him he had free range. He could shoot whatever he wanted. It was his first deer. I just didn't, it was about him hunting and just getting that fuel right. And when he did that, I was just blown away.
yeah, right.
His dad's sitting there going, "Come on, you want to shoot that one? No, come on, shoot that one." It's like this kid was stood his ground. I was like, man, I'm so proud of him.
Steadfast.
Right.
Yeah,
My
That's
philosophy
cool.
is like if a buck's not going on my wall, I'm not shooting it.
Oh
Right.
man, yeah, there you go, baby. 700. I mean, again, $700 to mount these things now. Like
Right.
I love my taxidermist, but a rare breed, you rock, Zach. But still, you
Right.
got to make a
It
choice.
costs right. And like
Yeah,
I'm always trying to do better too than the ones on the wall. So unless it's bigger or has more character, like you said, the character aspect is huge. I like ones with wild character to them.
yeah.
So unless it's beating them, there's no sense in me shooting it.
right.
I'll shoot a
I would
doe if
agree
I
with
want to
that.
put meat in the freezer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got to be wall worthy. That's
Right.
where I'm at myself. It's got to,
Yep.
and it's not that I'm trying to be a trophy hunter. I'm just truly,
yeah,
it's just a goal. It's
Right.
something that if I don't, then I'm going to stick a number. Right, I'm going to stick a number there. It's either going to be an age number, a weight number, a point number, a size. I'm going to stick a number. Otherwise, I just say it's got to be something that'll go on my wall. If I'm not willing to mount it, I'm not willing to shoot it when it
Right.
comes to a buck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
I
agree with
agree.
that.
That brings
Yeah.
up my next point. Like, when do you guys do your doe patrol? Like, I know guys that like to get it out of the way. Like early season, they're shooting does, they're getting it out of the way. I particularly don't like it. I don't like shooting does early season. I don't.
So I understand the concept. And there's so many arguments around
Right.
that, right? So,
Kenny's got an itchy finger. I feel this coming. He's got an itchy
I know.
finger.
I see him getting excited. I'm ready for
He's
this
like,
one.
oh, all right, it's my time.
well, I think because it is a good conversation, which ought to be one that we talk about going forward, if not finish here. But there's the people that have the mindset do it early, and then the people that do it early and get it out of the way, fill your freezer. That way, you can just focus on the buck, get it, which is my philosophy, right? If I'm going to shoot a doe, I want to shoot them early. I try not to do it in the rut. I want the does walking around me so the bucks come around during the rut. Then I got the people that want to shoot does post rut, and the argument there is, but they could be bred.
That's where's Kevin. You talked about that earlier.
There's the two babies, right, or potential 2 or 3 babies that you're eliminating right then, and I'm like,
you eliminated them early season.
Yeah, you already eliminated.
By eliminating that doe, I'm eliminating that pregnancy period, whether it's before.
See, I love that argument. People are like, well, there could be babies. I'm like, well, you ruined the chance at the early season when you shot her anyways. Like, right. So what makes the difference? I mean, I understand. Nobody wants to gut a deer and see little babies in there. I get it, but that doesn't fix your argument. I mean,
well, you're not going to see little babies until like February.
Right, exactly. To the way end of the season. Yeah, you'll see like this.
Yeah,
we've seen it before, like late season. But I'm the one that I don't like dealing with shooting does when it's 95 degrees out. I don't. I'll let them all walk. I'll let them all walk till after the rut.
Sweat to death.
Yeah. I don't care. I'll sit there and watch them all early season. I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
I told Kevin the snow on the ground helps to drag a little bit anyway. Us old guys, a little less friction to drag that carcass out.
We normally don't get snow on our ground until late December, early January.
Yeah, we don't get any snow in Maryland, so
Ohio is like it's like that one meme where there's a truck. It's the Ford Ranger and the tailgate's down, and the doe's up on a sled. He's like, "Send it."
Going
down in the truck bed, but. That's what I did. The one year I shot a buck. I drug it downhill to load the truck, just backed up to a bank, and I'm not gonna drag that thing and lift it up. Just let gravity help out down the hill. But
that's awesome.
I don't know. I do mine. Like I'll usually shoot doe if I want meat in the freezer. After rut, usually post rut in that neighborhood. Once I feel it waning off, I'm like, all right, the finger's getting itchy to send something here, so I'll pick one out and send it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't know. I just don't like I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a scientist, but if there's any science behind it, but I don't think there's any right or wrong to it. I just don't like dealing with it early season.
Agreed. Now, and I say I try to do it early myself, but when gun season opens up, right? I mean, we have 11 days of rifle season, and opening weekend. I mean, I'm going to try to shoot a buck, but I don't miss an opportunity at a doe. It's just another. Just more meat in my freezer, but I do try to hold off a little bit and get a buck first with my rifle. But I focus so much with my bow that's if I haven't shot a doe with my bow, I get one with my rifle. It's just the way I try to do it.
That makes total sense. And it depends on sometimes if some guys want a particular cut of meat, so they're looking for something pretty tender, a doe, like maybe a younger doe. And some people get really into that for the meat purposes. I know for myself, usually it's going to be trail bloning, it's smoked, or deer sticks are there smoked and it's ground. And I don't really care too much. If I'm making jerky, it doesn't matter to me. So if I get a buck, that's a lot of meat in the freezer. And usually for us, like if I'm going to feed the family, we're about a 2 deer per year family. 3 tends to be a little too much. And then I'm giving a lot of it away, but usually 2 deer, for us in the freezer is good.
Yeah, I agree. And I got so many people that will take a deer too, but they said I'm not.
That's all timing too.
Right. Exactly.
Weather and timing.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I think back to the trophy discussion, I think it comes into play quite a bit too, because here in Ohio last year, we had that really hard case where the guy just kind of came out, with the situation, that monster that was shot, and some things happened with it. And I think there's so much pressure on people in today's world with, growing their crops and getting everything perfect, and, the huge blinds, the new bows, and there's so much money wrapped into it. We all know that it's a business like anything else. All of a sudden, the pressure to perform gets high. And I'm just at the point where, like, if a really cool deer shows up at whatever area I'm hunting, that's pretty neat. And I'll put some effort into seeing what it's doing and trying to get on it. But my expectations are always really low. Like I just don't, these big mature deer are so infrequent. You just don't know what they're going to do at any point in time. And while you try to create a scenario to see it, doesn't mean you will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they get that big.
Yeah.
They're not dumb.
Well, like you
They're
said,
very,
Kevin, there's
and
no
that's the
perfect,
whole point.
there's no
That's
recipe.
right. There's
Like
not.
like we're not we're not animals. Like there's still wild animals. I don't care what level of prep you put into it and scent control you do. That deer is going to do what that deer is going to do. And sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes you don't see it the rest of the season.
hmm I mean, like I don't. I'm not one to put out a lot of bait or trail cameras. Like I might have a couple out. I have bait out, for the kids so we can hunt, so they can see deer. But other than that, I'm just trying to hunt sign and move around. I don't. I don't have the time to do all that either. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah. It
my
depends on time too.
hunting
Yeah,
properties are 40, 45 minutes away, and
Right,
I'll be lucky if I get to go hunting, let alone put in all the time to try to put out cameras,
for
try to put
sure.
out corn, this, that, and the other. So
Yep.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll
Try
do
to do it the
like
old-fashioned way.
I'll try to do it. I always do a mixture of both. Like I'll do just random hunting. I'll do random public hunting
hmm
sometimes.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
go to an in-law's house and just send it and see what's out there in that particular day without any knowledge. Sometimes that's the most fun. But then in the areas where I can get to, like if I know there's a deer somewhere, like the one I'm watching now, I'll do like spy point cam. I've actually got two on a tree right now, watching this spot, and I put like a trophy rock out. So there's a big block of
hmm
mineral that's like always kind of there.
right,
Where to
yep,
go, and then I'll intermittently put feed out. So it's not like every day I'm putting
right.
feed out, but like
Yeah,
intermittently I'll dump some feed out, but always want to have a mineral rock out there just so they know as like a goalpost. Hey, I can cruise by here and check us out most of the time.
hmm
yep.
So
yeah. I do the same thing. Like I have leases, but I'll hop around to different public lands.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's fun.
It's just change it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to have more time as a younger guy, but you guys know how it goes when you get older and you have less energy and you're more busy in your life with kids and everything.
Yep.
Less
You just
energy
you,
and more kids.
Yeah, well, it's like it's even like well, my old climber, like just or saddle hunting. I got to give it to these young guys that saddle hunt. All those ropes and stuff and cables and things you guys do, like it's incredible. I know you're quick at it, but like I'm getting to the point where like, how do you even get up a tree? I don't know if I can make it halfway up without out of breath. So I got to give it to them. But I'm getting used to blind hunting more. It's just easier with the time I have. I can jump in the blind and not make a bunch of noise getting in and out. It's a little less effort for me to do, and I can take people with me. So I know I'm getting a little aged with this, but I do enjoy blind hunting more than I used to. I still can't see what the heck, but
That's
it's
the reason why I don't like it. I can't stand hunting out
I
on the
know
ground blind.
it's hard. You get used to it though, man. Like it's not as easy.
I'll be there at some point, but I don't know. I love being able to see everything up in a tree.
Yeah,
It's just hard for me. Like I take my daughter in a ground blind. I'm like, what the fuck
you
is
can't. I know
this?
you can't hear, you can't see.
Like I
Yeah,
don't. What is going on in here?
yeah. Usually solo, I'll do the stand by myself. I'll do stand
Right.
solo, and if I'm taking
Yeah.
someone with me, I'll try to do it blind, make it
It
easier.
is cool to sit up in a blind with somebody, just, bullshitting or something, but
Yeah.
or taking your kids. It's definitely a
Yeah,
different atmosphere than going solo, but I just can't get used to it right now.
Well, I'm
yeah.
I'm older than both of you, so I appreciate the blinds, but I still do. I don't do as many latch-ons anymore. I stay ladder stands
Ladder.
and mostly elevated blinds like the redneck blinds and stuff like
hmm
that.
Hmm.
I've been doing that, and I enjoy those. Those you get room.
Those are
Uh,
sweet.
they
Yeah,
are sweet.
Yeah,
yeah.
They
they're
are
Those are very
so
sweet.
they're
nice.
so nice.
So,
Good.
but I've been doing that, and it does it makes a difference. But I'm like you, Josh. The older you get, it's tough to
It is tougher. Yeah.
it is tougher. So
I think all the equipment I used to take out, and I made it quick and snappy still, but I used to hike, half a mile after work, and you're busting it to get back in there before the
yep,
sun's going down, and you're sweating going up, and you're trying to beat the squirrels up the tree. And by the time you get up there, you're just dripping sweat, and you're trying to get
yep,
descent and get the odor off. But I think now I'm getting so comfortable with trying to enjoy the time I have little to get out that I'm trying to make the most of the little time I have to.
I understand that.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like just
yeah,
try to enjoy it more, and whatever
hmm
happens, happens, and it's a cool experience. Like my son, we're gonna go out this weekend, and try to get out in the blind and have him hunt. And it should be a pretty good weekend here in Ohio. It's cool. It's going to warm up a little bit, but I'll tell you, the bucks are definitely starting to get on their feet. I had a guy shoot a real nice one tonight. I've been getting one on camera. It's still nocturnal, but within, I'll bet you, days, this thing's going to start daylighting. I can just tell he's starting to trend that way. And it should be fun to see if he ends up around or someone in the area ends up getting him. We can never know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got one that's on the back of our property. We're on 22 acres, and he's been nocturnal, but he's getting closer and closer to sunup.
Mm-hmm.
And which is great, but it's also going to be hard because where he's at, I can't get to that early
in the morning.
without
spooking everybody.
So now I have to wait till his patterns start changes, and he starts coming in the afternoon. But I do like watching them. You can tell when their clock starts getting closer. I mean, he's hitting my feeder at about 6 o'clock in the morning now.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's getting there.
Yeah.
And so it's coming. We'll see.
Yeah, it's amazing how smart they are. I mean, how the transition of fall does that to them. And it is kind of neat. I will say that I often didn't used to run trail cams, honestly. And now in the past few years, I've been running cell cams. It's just really cool to be able to, like, not just know it's out there once in a while, but see all the variety of wildlife coming in. And you can have a chance to kind of see these deer that might show up. And then you have a chance, we talked about what's a trophy, to say, well, if he shows up, I might try to take a shot at him, or, whatever. Like, I've got 3 does that are there every day, nonstop, just mowing the corn down we've got, as well as 1,000 chipmunks and squirrels, and everything else. But these 3 does are just like clockwork here every single day. And so I know probably within a week, and we'll see what happens between now and the next podcast, but I'll bet you within a week or 2 weeks, well, a week and a half from now, those 3 does will be bringing that buck by at some point in time. He's going to be trailing up behind him, sniffing around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah. So they're going to start trailing. They're going to start trailing soon.
Yeah. It was a great episode, guys. I think we got to all kind of chip in as to what makes a trophy or a deer that you want to harvest for all of us. I think for them out there, it's good to sit down and listen to this, and maybe listen to it with your kids. And then you guys can, as your family, talk about what you think about it. Because at the end of the day, it is about your personal choice and what you want to harvest, and you make that trophy or adventure a lifetime, and that memory, like what he's talked about, of the hunt. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see everyone later. Take care.